Come on in. Thanks for coming through to Healthy Mentality Live. Kick your feet up, grab your water or your protein shake, and join in the conversation. I'm your host, Charles, also known as RMZ. If you haven't already, please take a moment to smash those like and subscribe buttons. And if you're watching on the mobile app, throw some hype my way. All of it helps the channel to grow. Let's get this channel to 5,000 subscribers with the hurry upness. Also, I've partnered with Fridays. And if you're uninsured, underinsured, or branded GLP-1s just aren't in the budget for you, Fridays has you covered. They offer compounded GLP-1 options at accessible prices with no membership fees. And that includes your lab work, unlimited provider visits, nutrition coaching, dietitian support, and live workout programs. They also provide access to TRT for all you men out there and powerhouse supplements like Semorelin and NAD+. They even have a meal delivery service for an additional charge. You can use the link in the description of this video and the code RMZ to get a $150 discount on your first order. A reminder, there are 2 GLP-1 meetups coming up. The first one is in Atlanta on June 27th. Then there's one in Dallas on October 17th. Check the link in the description for details and for your tickets. Also, a big shout out to all the channel members out there, the Big Zeppers. I thank you for your continued support always. And if you aren't a member, I still thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and showing up here each Tuesday night to be a part of this community. Now, before we begin, a quick disclaimer. I am not a healthcare professional. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn last night. None of my guests are healthcare professionals. And even if they were, they are not your healthcare professional. Nothing shared here is medical advice. We're simply sharing our own personal experiences and perspectives. Please consult your healthcare team before making any changes to your treatment or your routine. Now, at the end of the show, we'll have a live Q&A, and if you have a question, drop it in the comments at any point and start it with 3Qs so I can filter and easily find it. And if you're a man looking to come on and tell your story, email me at roundmoundzep@gmail.com. You can see it on the screen here. It's also going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen in the ticker. With that said, please join me in welcoming tonight's guest. Hey, how y'all doing, fellas?
Doing well.
Broderick, it looks like your camera's off there. Well, while we wait for Broderick to get back, John Henri, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jean-Henri Lee. Uh, Feel free to find me on TikTok. Same thing. My name is Jean-Henri on TikTok. And I just talk about everything. So I'm an open book.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And Mr. Broderick, want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Broderick. You can find me on TikTok, Broderick Bad T 875. I'm honored to be here with you guys this evening.
Thank you both for joining us tonight. This is going to be a little different than the normal GLP-1 discussion. I think even though all of us are on GLP-1s, we're also on TRT, which is something that I just started almost 3 months ago. And I think it's a very important topic for our community. So I wanted to bring you guys on to talk about your experiences with it. Um, Now, the symptoms of low T, and it's something that we don't talk about a lot in our community. What low testosterone is, what impact it is, and then there's also some kind of taboo about using it. It's like, if you don't have enough testosterone, you're not producing enough of it, then you're not manly enough. So if you're using TRT to replace what you're not producing, then they see that as cheating. Kind of like same dynamic with the GLP-1 community. You're taking a shortcut, even though it's something biological that you can't, fix. Now, when we talk about the symptoms of low testosterone, there's the sexual and reproductive symptoms. You got low sex drive, reduced libido, erectile dysfunction, which also can include a low quality of erection as well. Um, Loss of morning erections, physical changes, loss of muscle mass and strength, increased body fat, especially around the abdomen, gynecomastia, decreased bone density, which can increase fracture risk. You got energy and health, mental health impacts, chronic fatigue and decreased energy, depression, anxiety, and mood swings, difficulty concentrating, brain fog, irritability, poor sleep and insomnia. And then you have metabolic and cardiovascular risk, which is weight gain and obesity, insulin resistance with increased diabetes risk, higher risk of heart disease and heart attack, and elevated cholesterol level. And something that I found interesting while I was researching testosterone is cholesterol is the precursor for testosterone. So if you have high LDL, it could be because you have low testosterone, which I found pretty interesting. So I know my symptoms were low libido, low energy. I didn't have drive to do anything. Um, Poor sleep. So I was always tired, trying to fighting on and off at work. Um, and a lot of that happened after I did my treatment um, for prostate cancer. But looking back, I realized I had some of them symptoms before I started GLP-1. What were some of the symptoms that you guys were dealing with?
Project, I'll let you
Me,
go first.
I lack of energy, brain fog. My libido suffered a great deal. Um, Once I come to terms with that, I started to do some research to try to find out what was going on. Um, I didn't have energy to get out of the bed. There were times where I didn't want to move. I just wanted to stay in the bed curled up. And I battled with depression, and I just didn't have the drive to do anything. I felt like there was a hole in my soul. I felt like that I was, uh, fading away. That's what it actually felt like. And I just started doing some research, and I came to terms with what was going on, and I um, wanted to make a change. To be completely honest about it, I wanted to do something different to get me back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess with me, I just thought I was getting older. I know that sounds crazy, but certain things, like for example, drive. It's like, okay, well, you're getting older. You're not trying to chase X, Y, and Z, so you just kind of calm down. That's always dude. Now I can't talk. That's what I was attributing it to. It took me getting on a GLP-1 for everything to get significantly worse, where I was able to see what was going on. So they can't blame it on weight, or they can't blame it on other things. And so I think I know one thing that ended up happening for me to go seek help was I was in the gym. I didn't make it to the gym that morning because I just couldn't get out of bed, and I knew I wasn't sick. I knew, I got plenty. Well, broken sleep, but I got some sleep. But I just could not get out the bed. I just felt real bad, like I had a weight on me. So I went to the gym that afternoon, and I'm just trying to go through. I'm just like, why does everything just feel like a chore? And then, I was already going to seek help for that anyway. But then I started realizing before I went ahead and saw a provider, some of my lifts were going down. So I'm going from lifting, 5 plates on each side to now only be able to do two. I was like, that doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense. I wasn't gaining any muscle. I know people relating to GLP-1s, what you can get up your muscle, but I'm like, that's, to me, I was like, I'm working too hard. I'm eating. This doesn't make any sense. And so finally, it was kind of funny. I was doing some research, and they were saying, oh, it could be a testosterone thing. I ended up looking up some of my old results, and mine was low since 25.
Wow.
So I laughed because they didn't want to treat it. But this is one of the things when it comes to being young, they don't want to put young people on that. They want to do the natural way or just not even talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know for me, last year, you guys both know I went through radiation treatment for prostate cancer last year. So I started experiencing fatigue, and it was attributed to the radiation treatment. So the expectation was once I stopped the radiation treatment, the farther I got away from it, the more that energy would come back. And the opposite actually happened. The further I got away from the radiation treatment, the worse I was feeling. I was going to the gym 3, 4 times a week consistently. And then I got to a point in November where I didn't go to the gym for 4 months. I just couldn't get off the couch. And I just was feeling horrible. And I remember, I think it was you, John Henri, were talking about testosterone, and I mentioned I needed to go get my testosterone checked. So I asked my provider to check my testosterone, and my total testosterone number was fine. It was my bioavailable and my free testosterone that was the problem. And trying to navigate the system in order to get the treatment is horrible. I don't know if
Hmm.
you guys want to talk about your experiences trying to get treatment for your low testosterone.
I am a veteran, and I go to the VA hospital for all my care. I fought tooth and nail to try to get the VA to get me help. I every time I went in for to see my primary care, I asked them to check my testosterone to see where my numbers were at. According to them, anything I guess was 250 and below, well, 250 and up is normal. Their baseline was extremely low. I'm coming in at 280 and I'm feeling like crap. It's like, something is not right here. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And I kept stressing. I said, I think this is something concerning my T levels. I said, we need to address this. And they would not. They finally said, hey, your numbers are low, but according to the VA, this is our baseline and this is where we're at. We don't treat anything um below, I mean, above this number. And so I just got fed up. and I started reaching out to other clinics and talking to them. And I talked to several clinics over the phone, and I kicked the can a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did, because I felt like, hey, as a man, your testosterone is what makes you a man. If you don't have that, there's something wrong with you. And I felt, I was thinking about the taboo. It's considered cheating, and I just got to thinking, and I said, I'm feeling bad. I can't do nothing but go up from here. And so when I went to the low T center, it was a black doctor who had the best bedside manner that I've experienced so far dealing with medical professional. He tested my number, tested me, and came back and told me, hey, this is why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. He said your testosterone is real low. He said, but your free testosterone was, I think, was the 5.5, the usable testosterone that your body actually uses. And he said, until this changes, you're going to continue to feel the way that you're feeling.
Yeah.
And so he gave me that shot. And that, I say, maybe 2 hours after I took my first shot, the brain fog started to go away. And I'm like, man, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on? I started to feel a lot better. And the energy level started to creep back up just in that same day. And I didn't want to get overly excited. I kind of wanted to just see exactly, how I was going to feel the next day. The next morning, I was able to get out of the bed. It happened real quick for me. I was able to get out of bed, and I had the energy to do what I needed to do. And I was the brain fog. That was so important to me. I was able to think, and the rationale that I had, and the mood got better. I wasn't irritated like I once was. I do a lot of driving in the city because we have a pharmacy delivery business. I found myself before the TRT therapy. TRT, I was cussing out everybody on the road. now, now, go ahead, have your way, go on, do your thing. I'm not as irritated as I once was. The therapy is amazing, and I try to tell as many guys as I possibly can. Don't consider it cheating. You're actually cheating yourself by not experiencing, the treatment. Go get yourself tested so you know exactly where you are.
Yeah, thank you. All right, before you go, John, I want to introduce Bound. He just joined us. So I appreciate you joining us, Bound. You want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Oh yes. So I'm bound to me. I've been on TRT now for almost about 8 months, 9 months. But I've been needing it long before that. And my journey started off like a lot, like low energy, tired all the time. Went to the doctor, got that TRT test, and came back super low. Like I think the first time I got tested out like 200, 236. Then they send you for a second test, it went down to 185. So it went down instead of going up, and so I started treatment. But it's just been a journey.
Yeah,
Taking a shot, getting the energy back, feeling like you feel like it's like a drive you get when you get on the shot. Like you want to go, like you want to go to the gym, you want to go work out. Like it amps you up.
yeah,
And also with my mood, it made me calm. Like I felt real calm. It's weird. It's like you feel anxious sometimes, you feel anxiety, but then once you get on that TRT shot, you just feel calm. It's
yeah,
like nothing bothers you. It's like I know some people saying they get roid rage and stuff like that, but I think when you're on the right dose for you, I don't think you get roid rage. It probably like some people think about TRT steroids. They think about bodybuilder dose. They taking 1,500 milligrams. A shot, 1,000 milligrams shot. My doctor got me on 100, so it's not a lot. So, but it does the trick. So,
yeah.
I mean, since I've been on it, I've been amazing. It's been feeling amazing. So that's it.
So right now we're talking about how difficult it was to navigate the system in order to get the necessary treatment. I don't know if you had any difficulty navigating the system.
Mhm. Well, I started off with my primary care doctor. They did the first test, and then when that test came back, they sent me to endo doctor, endocrinologist doctor,
Uh,
and then they did the second test. And when I went there, they started me on TRT. It wasn't hard at all. Like it was real quick actually. It just the time between that first test and the second test because you have to wait, and that was the longest time. Other than that, they got you. It was about what treatment you want to take after that.
How about you, John Henry?
Well, I mean, my story is just always complicated. First of all, I'll say, Broderick, I talked to some men in the gym. I hear the same thing about the VA. That's why I was just laughing because they said literally the same exact story. I just laughed so hard because once they find out, they're like, oh, yeah, we just talk about it. We talk about what dosing. I know it sounds terrible. I don't know if I can say this online.
And I hear the same thing about VA too, but a lot of veterans a few of them that I've talked to that started TRT, they said they went the TRICARE route and got approved and just went away from the VA. So that's something to consider. But go ahead, John. I mean,
I heard the same thing, which is funny. Look, I guess everyone's story is the same. But I like the community we built because literally, I know it sounds crazy. If somebody runs out of not medication, but materials, we're like, oh, hey, here you go. We just got to know each other. So it's like, okay, you're going to go buy it. Here you go. Or I got this extra. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's kind of the community we built. Like I said, not the steroid kind of thing, but just we're taking regular doses. Just kind of talking about it. But I guess kind of the barrier for me / kind of how hard it was, as people know, I didn't know I was low. So I was going to doctors. They were seeing the numbers, but they weren't saying anything. I was having some issues, I'll say it that way. And so ended up getting with a urologist, waited about 3 years until I found out the number. And then I just asked him, he said, okay, cool. But I figured out that a primary care, because I was trying to get everyone, will get all my medications through one doctor. But primary cares don't want to do it. Some certain type of clinics, they don't want to do it. It takes this very special provider sometimes for them to say, yes, this is what we're going to do. So maybe a urologist or maybe even a TRT clinic. It's hard finding a primary care that's going to say, here, let's do this. Because they want to send you to the endo or they want to send you somewhere because like, oh, something's wrong. I don't want to correct something that's wrong with you. I want you to find the root cause. But sometimes there's not a root cause. It just is what it is.
yeah. See, I had a bit of a challenge. I think part of it's because of prostate cancer. There's a lot of doctors that don't want to prescribe testosterone to someone that had prostate cancer because there's this belief out there, even though it's been proven false, that testosterone will cause prostate cancer to come back. So my primary sent me to, after my test came back, sent me to an endo, and the endo ran some additional tests beyond what my primary sent me for. So ran an LH test, a FSH, my sex binding globulin hormone test. So all of that. And that came back. My SBHG was elevated, so it was reducing the amount of my free testosterone. So my total number was normal according to the range. I was in the 500 range, like 480 to 500. But my free and bioavailable was below the range because of my SHBG was elevated so high, and my FSH was off the scales. It was 3 times harder or higher than normal because I think it's because of my radiation treatment that killed my ability to make sperm. So I was primary hypogonadism, and so the endo, I came back, or I was talking to him about my numbers, and he was saying that he wasn't sure if he could prescribe me TRT because of my history with prostate cancer. So I went to my urologist because I had a follow appointment because of my prostate cancer, and I started talking to him about it. And I asked him about my SHBG and my FSH numbers, and he said, none of that means anything. All that matters is your total testosterone numbers. Fine. I said, well, I'm dealing with all these symptoms. I'm unmotivated. I have brain fog. I can't sleep. I have low libido. I haven't been to the gym in 4 or 5 months. So I got all these symptoms. So something's not right. And he said, you're fine. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to find another doctor. So I tried the online clinics, and the first one I went to told me that they wouldn't treat me because of my prostate cancer history. The second one told me they would treat me, but I needed a letter from my urologist saying that it was fine for them to treat me. So I had to go find another urologist that would treat me, but it's not like you can Google a urologist that will prescribe testosterone. So luckily, the first one I went to was willing to put me on testosterone. but she was not really educated on the whole thing. She had to go talk to one of her colleagues and come back to me. She called me like a week later and said, "I put your prescription in. You're good to go." Um, and the moment I started taking it, like Broderick said, that I took my first shot on a Thursday night, and my juice levels just went up immediately. I couldn't sleep. I just had so much energy. I probably had like 3 hours of sleep that night because I was just so juiced up, and I wasn't tired the entire next day. And
Yeah.
you can feel it working right away.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's been my experience on it so far.
I'm laughing. My first time, I just got so calm because people who know me. They know that I can fly off the handle back in the day. I just got so calm. I got some good sleep. I was just walking on a cloud. I'm like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I actually called the provider and I asked the provider if there was something wrong. I said, I feel strong and mild all at the same time. I said, and they told me that you're in a good space, that the prescription is working like it's supposed to. And I even asked my wife, have I gotten soft? What's going on? This is new to me, but I can deal with the stress of life, a lot easier now. I can reason through conflict. Even when I talk with my wife, I try to be calm and pay attention to what she's saying. It's night and day, and I just don't
Mhm.
understand why doctors are giving us such a hard time, men a hard time to get this. I don't know if it's because it's a controlled substance. uh, I don't know, but it needs to be made available for men that are actually suffering from low testosterone, because I think it may make a difference in society. Some of these guys that are doing some of this crazy stuff out there, maybe if they had testosterone shots, they may feel a lot better and be able to reason, because the depression, it's real when your
Yeah.
numbers are low.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. And,
Uh,
and and once you get that shot, it really makes a difference. It really
yeah.
does.
Yeah, that depression is real. I was dealing with some of that myself. I won't say I was necessarily depressed, but had a depressive mood, and I was
Yeah.
feeling, especially I was trying to navigate, trying to get the treatment that I needed. I was starting to feel hopeless about that. So that's a big
Yeah.
thing
Yes.
that it helps out with. And I lost my train of thought.
You-
I know. Oh, I know what the So for me, I don't know if you guys are dealing with this. So I had my follow up appointment with my prescriber. They sent me to labs. Probably about I want to say 6 or 7 weeks into my protocol. My dose was half a milligram twice a week, and my levels got up to my testosterone level got up to 1220. But
Mm.
Hey,
the they didn't run any. She didn't put in an order to check my SHBG. She didn't put in an order to check my bioavailability or my free testosterone. So I don't know what my free testosterone level was at. So she called me and said, your numbers are too high. And she said it's illegal for you to be that high. I said, no, it's not. But she was talking about the guidelines, but I was feeling great, man. Everything was great. And so what she said, I need to change your dose. I need to reduce you down to 0.3 milligrams twice a week. And so she dropped me down, and everything started coming back. Not as
Mhm.
much as it was before, but it started coming back, and I could feel it coming back. And so she got me retested, and my number was like 785 for my total, and
yeah.
my free was like at seven. I think it was like 74, 75. And so I'm telling her, I don't know if you guys, when I started my journey, I started doing a whole lot of research about the process of
Mhm.
TRT, and there's two doctors out there that are like head and shoulders. They're like the leaders in this field. Dr. Abraham Morgenthaler and Dr. Mo Carrot. And they both try to get their patients to their free testosterone. They totally disregard the total testosterone number. They try to get their patients free testosterone over 100 milligrams per deciliter. And they want to ideally get you to the midpoint of what that range is for optimization. Have you guys had any pushback from your providers about your levels and trying to fight that?
I will say this. I have. And that's why I end up having to get me a second doctor. So I got two doctors. One, I got my primary endocrinologist, right? I go to him. He prescribed me testosterone, but the dose he gave me was kind of low. I think he put me on like 25 units. It was low, and I didn't feel no, like you said, like felt a little better, but not better, right? But then when I went to a clinic, I went and found me a TRT clinic. Now the clinic, they're different because they're focused on optimizing your testosterone. They want you between 900 and 1200. And a lot of men, unfortunately, we feel better with a higher number. You just don't want to go too high.
Yeah.
But my when my clinic raised my dose up, and I'm taking like, I think he put me on like 100 units. What was it? I think it was like 100. I just remember on the syringe, right? On the syringe, I was taking 40 units twice a week. And I felt the best I've ever felt when I was taking 40 units twice a week. And it's like compared to the 25 units that my endo had me on, it didn't feel the same. Like I felt better, but I didn't feel good like I did when I went to the clinic. So I had a clinic running one number, and they both doing blood work. So I'm getting blood work from everywhere, you know. But I will tell you this: a clinic gave me more detailed blood work. Where my doctor, endocrinologist, they gave me my free T, they gave me my total T and my E2 levels. That was it. But the clinic, they did a full panel. They gave me cholesterol, free T, the SB, sexual binding globulin. That one, they gave me. They even gave me my IGF-1 levels. They gave me it was like pages of a test result that they gave me at the clinic, where I didn't get that from my primary at all. So it would seem like there was more detail. And the lady I was going to, she said they focus on optimizing my testosterone, not just making it baseline. Because you on that baseline, that 700 to 600, everybody's different. You may feel, some men might feel good at 700. Some men might not feel the effects of 700. You might be a little bit higher to really get the full effect of being on TRT replacement, to make you feel good. Because you're not taking it just to hit a number. You're taking it to get results and to feel better.
Exactly.
And some doctors, unfortunately, they only look at that number. And I mean, I listen to some doctors, but I go by how I feel, you know. And so my clinic doctor, she's been amazing. Like she's like different. But like I said, like you just said, she focused on the feel. Like she asked me, biggest question she asked me, how do you feel on your dose? You know, and then when she see the numbers, if the numbers are a little high, like my hematocrit had crept up a little bit. She said, okay, now go get blood. And so I go get blood like every 2 months. I go donate blood, and they didn't give you $25, $30 when you donate blood. I didn't know that. I go donate blood. They send me a $25. I get it straight Amazon. Give me an Amazon gift card, and it's all good, you know. So even though my dose is higher than my endo put me on, and my hematocrit, because I think the main doctor try to make sure all your levels balance out. Because when you go up in dose, you could raise your hematocrit. That could definitely happen. But dealing with a higher hematocrit versus feeling the full effect of the TRT, I rather deal with that and go get blood. And then I'm perfect. Like everything is good. Everything is balanced out. And you know, do you all get the anastrozole with it as well? The no?
We just had that conversation today. We just really brought that up.
Yeah, they gave me a anastrozole. They gave me like my primary care doctor wanted me to take a 1 milligram of anastrozole to help control E2. My clinic was like, you don't need to take a full milligram, just take a half a milligram. And when she did that, because you know when your E2 level goes up, because your TRT is around 1200, it's okay for your E2 level to be like 40 or 50, because it's a balancing act. You don't need to be in like 20s and 30s, you know. So the way she did it with the E2 level, everything was balanced. So I found myself getting better care unfortunately, I get better care at a clinic than I get from a primary. And that's crazy that you can do that.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that real
I
quick.
remember my thought that I lost Broderick has said something about why they're so resistant to prescribe the medication, and it is because it's a controlled substance. But what I found out is that to Bound's point, when a woman goes to see a doctor about her hormones, they treat the symptoms. They don't
Mhm.
care about the numbers. They treat the symptoms. When we go see a doctor about our hormones, they care about the numbers because they're prescribing a controlled substance. Then that's a big difference, and that needs to change. And also that range that they're looking at, 300 to 900, that's arranged by people that are going in and getting tested, and you're only going to get tested if you're feeling sick. And it doesn't. There's no age calculation or accounting for that. So you're saying that someone that is 80 years old getting a testosterone test is someone that is the same as someone that's 18. They should be in the same range, and that shouldn't be the case. That's why, Dr. Morgenthaler says, those ranges are completely useless. There's no scientific reason behind them. And it changes, it lowers because, we're losing 1% of our testosterone each year. So the numbers that my dad had for his range is different than what I'm experiencing now in this time and day. So that's something to be considered as well.
Mhm.
And that's
I
why I
did.
tell everyone go baseline, so later on.
Yeah.
And I think,
Well,
and I also heard that people, our testosterone today in men today is lower than would have been in the past. So we're being graded on the scale of people with low testosterone. It's not being treated. Like I know now, some doctors won't even treat you unless you're under 300.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like 300, 400 is too low for a man to be at.
yeah,
Hmm.
So if you don't treat me until I get under 300, how is that beneficial? But that's, like I said, that's most primary care doctors and endocrinology. If you went to a clinic, they'll treat you like
yeah.
you get low, you're not optimal. The clinic is seem like it's more flexible with giving you the treatment that you need.
Yeah, and that's why they need to stop looking at the top number, the total number, because
Hmm.
there's some people that may be fine at 400 because their free testosterone is good, but there's others
Hmm.
that may not be good at 400 because they have high SHBG number, which is
Hmm.
binding up a lot of the testosterone, making it not available for the body to use. So there's a lot of difference in there, but a lot of them just look at that top number and say that it's within that range, so you're good. But they're, the good doctors are going to look at what your SHBG number is, what your albumin number is, what your free testosterone number is, and all those other panels that you're looking at, your hematocrit, your estradiol
Hmm.
numbers, and all of that to find out where you are in order to optimize you so you're feeling good. Like I was optimized before she changed my dose. Now,
Hmm.
I hope she don't watch it, but I'm sneaking around changing my dose because that 0.3 ain't working for me.
You know what? I kind of did that too, Ron. I had to
Yeah,
learn my lesson the hard way. I was feeling good on the 40 units, so I took myself up to like a 45 unit. I said, "What's a little bit more?" I feel amazing. And when I went up that little bit, it seemed so small, just 5 more units. But when I went up on that 5 more units, cholesterol shot through my LDL shot through the roof, hematocrit shot through the roof. All my number was off, and she was like, "What did you change?" She knew it. She was like, "Did you do anything different?" I said, "Well, I said I kind of went up on my dose a little bit, just to see if I felt better on it." She said, "How do you feel on it?" I said, "Well, now it seemed like some of the symptoms had started coming back a little bit. And you would think if I take more of this, I'll actually feel better." But no, that's when I learned it's a balancing act, and you got to get your dose dialed in to you and the way you are. And unfortunately, I found out another thing that as you lose weight, because I've been losing weight, you have to adjust your dose of again based on your body size and how your body handled the testosterone. So I went through three or four different dose changes to get my dose dialed in perfectly, and I had to get readjusted as I lost over 100 pounds, so I weight different now than when I first started. So I actually take a little bit less now, and it's still hitting. The, my doctor is amazing. This clinic doctor is amazing. Like she's awesome, and she asked the right question, but she got me dialed in so good now that I don't even need the anastrozole for the E2. I don't need it as much. Like now, I take it like every other week, Well, at first I was taking it every time I took my shot, I took a pill. But now it's like I don't have to do that. I take it every other week just to keep it within gauge, because she had you come in and do blood work. Like I was doing blood work once a month. Like she had me coming in the office every once a month doing blood work. Where my endocrinologist, he only do blood work like every 3 months. I see him every 3 months. That's it. And it's like when he see you, it's like in and out. He don't ask you no detailed questions. It's like, okay, you taking a shot. Your levels look great. A little bit too high. Go give blood, and that's it. I'm like, okay. So
Can I pick your brain?
it's the difference. Good.
So here's what I keep on hearing from other people who have medical teams. So we're supposed to be asking, or not asking, we're supposed to be building a medical team, but we don't talk about when one person is doing something that the other one is contradicting. If that makes sense. So maybe one provider is saying, "Oh, what's taking estrogen blocker?" Another one might be saying, "Oh, your estrogen is good, although it's out of range." So I guess how do you all deal with that when it comes to, I guess, that fighting against providers, if that makes sense? Because they all have something different to say about our bodies.
I went to a urologist at the VA, and prior to me going to that urologist, I had started the TRT therapy, and I did the blood work. And so she called me in the office, and she looked at the blood work, and she said, "You have to be doing something different. Your numbers are completely different from what they were prior to you coming in a month ago." And I said, "Yes, I started TRT." She turned around and she looked at me and she said, the VA, they don't really offer TRT. And she said, that was the best thing that you could have possibly done for yourself. She said, I commend you for doing that. She said, I wish that we could do something to help veterans here to offer the TRT. And when she said that to me, I looked at her and I'm like, why wouldn't you guys try to help people to feel better? Isn't that your job? Isn't that your responsibility as a provider to make sure that people are operating at their best? But I don't know. I don't know if it's a lack of care or lack of education. I don't know what it is. But I think every man should do his own due diligence. Just don't take what they say as gospel. Go and do your own research. Look at the doses that they gave you and how you feel. Listen to other doctors, what they have to say about, the industry. And for some strange reason, like my brother said, you get better care when you actually go to a TRT clinic versus going to a primary care physician. I'm a firm believer, whatever is wrong with your body, if there's something going on with your heart, go to a heart doctor. If there's something going on with your kidneys, go to a kidney doctor. Go to somebody that actually specializes in that treatment so that you can get the treatment that you actually need. But once you do that, you need to communicate everything that you're doing with the TRT, with the kidney doctor, with the heart doctor. Everybody has to be on the same page so that you can get the proper care that you need. If you're taking TRT, the kidney doctor, the urologist, all of them need to know so that they can alter your medication so everything lines up accordingly. So you have to be that centerpiece. You have to do your own. You got to do your own research, and you got to communicate all this to everybody. And if the doctor doesn't want to listen to you, replace them. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Find
I think
somebody else.
I think one of the biggest things I like, what I find out trying to navigate this journey, is there's a big cost discrepancy between the traditional medical route versus the TRT clinic, if that TRT clinic does not take insurance. Like, going to a clinic can range from anywhere from $600 to $800 for a 6 month period for care, whereas going through a medical provider for me is only um, $20 a month for my prescription and on my copay, and it's yeah, it's $10 a month, and then $20 a month for a 3 month supply. So it's a big difference in cost, when that you have to consider. Now, if I had no other choice, which the way things are going with this current doctor, if I can't find another one that's on point, then I may end up having to go that route. But I don't want to pay that cost if I don't have to. And there's a lot of men that don't have that extra money to go out there. But to your point, John Henry, And what Roger said, you have to educate yourself. That's what I've been doing. In order to advocate for yourself when you go into these appointments, you have to educate yourself so you can talk the talk with the doctor. And if they're not open to what you're asking them, and you're not feeling right about that situation, I'm just gonna go find another doctor, like I did with this urologist. I'm gonna go find another doctor because you're being dismissive of me, and you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not feeling good, and you're telling me everything's all right, and I know it's not all right. So, all right, I won't come back here again. I'm just gonna go find another doctor.
So Charles, you said something, you didn't say something. Men, we need to talk about this because what in Pat Book said, I'm open with everybody, so people can tell me a whole bunch of stuff. When it comes to costs for certain people who can't afford what their insurance, or they're being pushed off to a clinic that they can't afford, as long as they can go get the prescription, you can use GoodRx. You can get a 10 ml, 200 per milliliter
200
for.
milligrams.
Thank you. I'm saying stuff today that I'm all that's wrong.
When you need to take your next dose.
Your brain fog.
I got a
I'm
sip
up
of
for, like, I wake up at 2 a.m. every day, so it's my bedtime, so I apologize. But you can go find that for between $20 and $40. That's hopefully more affordable by just getting a prescription. So I know it sounds terrible, but if you can go find a doctor that will write any prescription, hear me out, people. If you can find a doctor that can write any prescription that gets you through the door.
Mm-hmm. And you can stack. I got testosterone stacked up. You know, I got some from my primary care doctor. I got some from my TRT clinic. And they gave me they got these, just so you know, they got these little easy fill caps that you pop on the 10 milliliters, and you hook the easy needle straight to it, and you can draw it out without having to use the 18 gauge to draw it out, and then switch it to I use a 25 gauge to inject. But they got these easy Learlock needles, syringes that you can draw it straight out. I like that. I like that little funnel. But I got that from a compound pharmacy. I get mine from a compound pharmacy. I paid for it. It's like $100, and that's for a 10 ml. That lasts me at least almost 3 months.
Wow.
You know, it lasts a long time. So it's like, you know, like you said, like you can get it from it's not different clinics got different prices. What I find to be the most expensive is the blood work that you get. Because I know I had to sign up for their program. Their program was like, it was like either 130, my clinic was like $130 a month whenever you come, or like $200 a month, and that includes your blood work, includes your when you go get your when they do a blood dump for you, or when they do all your tests, everything is included. So at first I was just getting like the 135, give me a 10 ml vial, they give you all the needles and syringes with it. I just come back when I come back. But then I say, you know what? I need to get this blood work because I want to get all my. It's so important. If you're gonna be on TRT, get your blood work done. You have to know where your numbers at. And the fact that this clinic was giving me more detail than my own doctor office, I see, yeah, sign me up for that $215 a month. And the good thing is that they don't take insurance, but they do take FlexCare spending account. And I got that set up in my job. I just put my money in there, you know, so they take it out of my check. And that way I get that little Visa card, and they run it every month. I don't even miss it. Because it come out pre-tax because it's FlexCare, right? So that's how I get my prescription from my clinic, and then also I get my regular clinic, my prescription from my doctor too. I feel that Walgreens, they give you them little bitty vials, but they just stay. Who knows? You might run out of insurance and you ain't got no more TRT. So I just try to keep it stacked up.
But for legal reasons, you don't.
Huh?
For legal reasons, you don't.
I can't sell my TRT. I need it.
No, I'm just saying. Never mind. We'll talk off camera. But for
Okay.
legal reasons, it's enough to get through the month.
Yeah. Get through the month.
Speaking of injecting, how are you guys injecting, and why? What method are you using?
I do both.
I got a bad story, so y'all go first.
I would say I do both. I do sub-Q, and also I do intermuscular. I find that sub-Q is, well, first I started off doing sub-Q only, and then I was like, I want to do intermuscular, and I had my wife give me the shot. Right? She liked giving me the shot. She liked to make sure I got my shot, And so she would give me the shot, and I show her a video. She's good at it. Like she give you a shot. She give me the shot. I don't even feel it. Like I don't feel a needle going in or anything. Like she's a pro with that shot, right? But sometimes she's not available or she at work. I'm like, I need my shot, so I started giving myself a sub Q shot. And what I did is I got some insulin, I got a lot of insulin syringes for my other peptides and stuff. And so I learned that you can get a 27 gauge insulin syringe because you can't use a little 30 gauge; it's too small, and the testosterone is too thick, the oil base too thick. But a 27 gauge insulin syringe works perfect. Like you get a box of 100 that lasts you forever. So I was doing a sub Q shot, just bottom part of my stomach or my hip, and then on because I do 2 shots a week. I'm on a 2 shot a week schedule, and then when my wife is available, I let her give me the intermuscular shot, and she normally do that in glute.
My wife is I'm blessed. She's a registered nurse, and I ask her to give me the shot, and I take mine on the backside, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seemed to experience the best results, going that route versus doing it sub Q. I didn't like the sub Q because sometimes if you do it wrong, I was giving it in my thigh. If you do it wrong, or you kind of you got some soreness there, and you got to massage that medicine into your leg, and I didn't like it, so I had her start doing it the other way, and it's to me that's the best way to give it. That's the best
Mm-hmm.
way. She has that longer needle. I don't even feel it. And a lot of times she's already done the shot. And I'm still standing there. And
Right.
it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out well.
Yeah, I'm doing sub Q myself. I'm doing I draw up with a 29. No, sorry, not a draw. What do I draw up with?
27.
No, 18. I draw up with an 18
Yeah.
gauge. I do the lower lock. I draw it with an 18
Mm-hmm.
gauge, take the 18 gauge off the syringe and put on a 29 gauge insulin needle and inject sub Q. And the reason why I do sub Q is because it's supposed to reduce the trough.
Yeah.
It's more because it absorbs slower. You don't hit that trough at the end of. I'm doing twice a week, but you don't hit that trough where you have this high and then a low. So it keeps it more balanced because it absorbs a lot slower through the capillaries instead of injecting straight into the muscle where it's going to hit the bloodstream a lot faster. And then you can develop that scarring on the muscle over time. You keep doing it in the same spots and over. So sub Q works great for me.
I want to ask you guys a question. I want to ask y'all a question. Do you think by being African American men, the doctors may not be paying as much attention to us as needed?
I think there's definitely some of that. I mean, it's all across medical care, whether you're a black man or black woman. We get subpar care a lot of times. That's why I try to find a doctor of color whenever I can, and preferably a woman because I've had way more better success with a woman than I have with a man doctor.
I would have to agree with you on that. A woman I don't know. My TRT clinic, she's a woman and she's awesome. And my primary care doctor, he's a man. It's night and day.
Yeah. Well, I got all male doctors, so
So do we all do twice a week?
I do once.
I do
Once a week.
twice. Yeah.
Ooh, Broderick. Well, how do you feel towards the end?
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm. They got me on 180 milligrams, and all my shots are pre-drawn up. They come in a box with the syringe and everything. And my wife, she changes the needle on it, to make it a little longer needle when she's giving it to me in the backside. But I haven't experienced a drop or anything like that. It's just been even. But I can tell you, that day I take my shot, I put that cape on my back. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm ready to go. But maybe I say, the first day you get that extra surge and it kind of just tapers out. You just kind of mellow out. But overall, it's been a pretty good experience. But one thing I have noticed, guys, I don't know if y'all noticed this, the libido, it's a night and day, and sometimes I feel sorry for my wife because I'm chasing her around the house.
Right.
And do what
During
you
the
do in
day,
period.
during the day, I'm calling her, telling her, "Hey, I'm coming home." It's night and day. I feel like a young kid again. Let's just say that, it's a good experience.
Curious question. We all are all GLP-1 users.
Mhm.
Did you guys notice a difference in energy as the weight came off? And I, looking back, I noticed my energy levels changed as my weight came down. And looking back, knowing what I know about testosterone levels now, and knowing that I know is that as we lose weight, as we lose fat,
Mhm.
our testosterone levels go up.
Yeah.
Because what happens is our testosterone is turned into estrogen, is stored in our fat. It aromatizes and turns into and stores in the fat. So we get this imbalance. That's why a lot of men get the gynecomastia, because the estrogen, the testosterone is being turned into estrogen. So I noticed that my energy levels started going up as I lost weight, and then it crashed once I went through my treatment. I don't know if you guys had the same experience as your weight came down, if your energy level went up.
I did, but what I experienced, I started at a 305, and when I got down to 176, and then I got back up to 185, and I think everybody has a natural body weight, where you're supposed to be, and mine was between 180 and 185, and once I got back to 185, it's like I started to decline. I don't know if that's when the bottom fell out for me. I didn't have the strength anymore in the gym. My bench press went down. I don't know what happened, but it's like the bottom fell out at some point, and that's when I realized, hey, I got to do something, because I kept telling my wife, for some reason I'm going backwards. I'm losing my strength. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if once my body caught up, to 185, when I started to balance out, the weight start to balance out, then it just changed for me for some reason. I stopped losing weight. I stabilized at 185, and I started feeling my strength in my hand. It was fading. I felt like my bones were getting brittle, and I was like,
Mhm.
something is not right here. But once I experienced that shot, things started to turn around. The arthritis and stuff like that I was experiencing started to fade, and I'm just like, I want to see every man that I could possibly tell about this. Hey, man, go get tested. Just find out what your numbers are, and that's going to tell you a lot about what you're experiencing just by getting that blood work done. Because blood ain't gonna lie to you; it's gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it's
I think
surprising
same
to
thing with
me. As important as testosterone is, it's surprising to me that it's not a normal panel just in the course of getting your blood work done. It should be as
Right.
common as just getting a CBC.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Because I didn't
it's
know that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, because I remember when I first was looking into TRT replacement, I didn't know that your testosterone controls so many functions in your body. It regulates your
Mhm.
immune system. So if you're dealing with autoimmune disease, could be your TR, you got low T, and your body can't. It can't. Your immune system is affected by your testosterone. Uh, your weight gain is affected by your testosterone. Like you said, it's aromatized by your fat, and now you thinking that you got this testosterone that's high, and really your testosterone low the whole time. And you don't know it, but you're picking up weight. You're aging. You're getting old quicker. Insulin resistant. All that's impacted by your testosterone level. And like you said, they don't do enough tests, and also most doctors they don't do enough vitamin D tests either. They
Mm,
don't test black men to see if their vitamin D low, because
that's critical.
vitamin D is linked to your testosterone too. But
Yep.
vitamin D is not a vitamin; it's a hormone, so it helps control your testosterone level. So I make sure I optimize my vitamin D level also. But like you were saying, around like as my weight came down, my doctor had to readjust my dose to go down in dose because I didn't need the dose, same dose I needed in the beginning. I don't need it now because I lost so much weight. And so my dose have gone down, but I'm still getting the same benefit as though I was taking that higher dose I was on it initially. But as I lost weight, I'm at a lower dose now, and I still feel great. But yeah, doctors, it's just some doctors they're gonna do a well check on you, and some doctors not. They just not. But testosterone is super important. Any like you said, anyone that dealing with any kind of issues as a man, you got to get your TRT checked. Like you should get that checked, just like you get on a GLP-1. They need to check your testosterone and check your vitamin D levels too, to make sure
You
everything is
know,
optimized.
at this point where I am now, what I've learned about the testosterone, I wondered if I would have went this route first before I got on the GLP-1. Would I even needed the GLP-1 had I, started taking the testosterone first and just got my butt in the gym and just, let the testosterone do its thing? I wonder if I would have lost the weight, that way versus even, experiencing the GLP-1. But, the past is the past. I can't go back there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I'm curious, if I would have went that route, what would have been the difference? Would there have been something better for me? And now I am also contemplating. I even told my wife, what would happen if I back off from the GLP-1? If I just stopped, and I just stayed on the testosterone and just kept working out. Would I be okay? I'm seriously thinking about doing that, but I just don't know what's going to be on the other side.
Yeah. To
Mhm.
to to
Well,
that
so
point, to that point, sorry, John Army. To that point, I don't know if you guys have experienced this. When I started TRT, I noticed that there was this fight between the TRT and the GLP-1 as far as my
yeah,
hunger goes.
Yeah.
GLP-1 was trying to suppress the hunger, but the TRT said, "No, you need more fuel. I need more
Yeah.
Mhm.
protein."
Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced that too. So when I find myself eating a lot of rotisserie chicken, and I just go through it. I'm talking about just turn it up, and it's like, it feels good just to eat protein, to get that inside of you. That's the first thing I devour when I sit down and eat. But I agree with you 100%. It's a battle, that I'm hungry, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So
John Army, I'll cut you off. I'm sorry. You was gonna say something.
you're good. From a fitness point of view, if you were to go down on your dose or to completely stop GLP-1s at all, your weight's gonna go up, but get in body scans so you can see if it's muscle going up and not fat. So look at that visceral
gotcha.
fat. Just look at everything about your body so you can make sure that the weight's going up in a healthy way. Because like I said, once you're getting that good protein, you got to feed your body to grow, even as adults. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna read this quote um, from one of the doctors that I've been educating myself on, Dr. Mulcara, um, and then we'll open it up for questions. Men with low testosterone levels are much more likely to have a heart attack. Men with low testosterone levels are much more likely to have diabetes and obesity. Men with low testosterone levels are much more likely to suffer from depression. Men with low testosterone levels are much more likely to have a bone fracture. So it's not just about sex, it's about their overall health. And if you were to check one blood test to assess a man's overall health, it's his testosterone level. One blood test to check his overall health, it would be because it affects heart, diabetes, obesity, bone marrow density, energy, muscle mass, erections, and libido. One blood test. I can't think of another blood test that is a better barometer for overall health in a man.
It's
Totally
amazing.
agree.
Yeah.
All right, y'all ready for some questions?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see what we got here. We got a super chat from the downsizing diva herself. Gotta give it applause. Hey, RMC and chat, thank you for all sharing your stories. You are helping so many. Keep up the great work. Lester Holt, that's what she calls me. Lester Holt of GLP-1s. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, diva. All right. All right. Purple bellflower. Is there a specific blood panel required for men to determine if you qualify for TRT? Anyone want that?
It's a good question.
I would say that it's not you definitely want to test total testosterone, free testosterone, SHBG, albumin, um, LH levels, FSH levels, estradiol, and hematocrit at a minimum.
I think
Would
you hit
it be
all right.
good?
You probably want to throw in. You probably want to throw in your
Yeah.
Yes.
Would it be wise to say just a full panel? Ask the doctor that for a full panel to test everything.
yeah.
Well, their version's different. So I would tell people get very specific with what you're asking. So
Yes.
even do your research before you go to the doctor and say, I need all these tests here. And just know, also look at your insurance company to see what they cover as well, so you don't get hit with a bill later on. But definitely go armed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
You get
definitely had
better
to, I definitely had to do that with my current doctor who prescribes my TRT. I had to send in to her medical assistant the testing codes that I wanted. I looked up the testing codes on Quest and said I want this test, this test, this test, and this test.
You don't want to know what I thought I heard.
Okay, now I'm curious. What did you think you heard?
Testicles.
See, it's your bedtime too.
Tomorrow's my shot day, so.
All right, we got another one from Purple. A bellflower. Should men go to a specialist to get the required tests?
Yes, absolutely. I think that they should go to a TRT clinic, somebody that specializes in testosterone replacement therapy, simply because they'll get the best care if they go to somebody that actually specializes in that versus going to a PCP.
Agreed.
Hey, RMZ, what do you think about the vitamin D check? Also, as
Oh
a
yeah,
marker?
definitely vitamin D, especially for black males.
Mhm.
I remember a few weeks ago there was a viewer who was talking about her son. I think he was 17 or 18, who had low T levels at his age, and they found out he had a vitamin deficiency. And he was staying in Florida, so it wasn't a lack of sun. So, and he's an athlete, so
Yeah.
he's active. So it wasn't a lack of sun; it was just his vitamin D levels. So they gave him some supplementation for vitamin D and got his numbers up. So it's very important that we also get vitamin D checks.
Mhm.
All right, we got another one from Purple Bellflower. Are there different forms of TRT treatments? If so, how did they determine which one was best for you?
Well,
They got several forms. They got a pill. They got a pill you can take. I think it's called Clomid, something like that. It's a pill.
Clomine.
Clomiphene.
Yeah,
And
clomiphene.
clomiphene.
Yeah.
They also got a gel that you can rub on your armpit, inner thigh, but you can't touch anyone. Like you can't touch your kids or your wife after you use it. I think you gotta let it dry first. And then they got a pellet. They do a pellet where they're inserted. They'll normally cut your backside and put it in your hip. That's what they know. Sometimes they do it and they sew you back up. And the pellet lasts for a couple months, And then they also got the injection that you can do sub-Q or intramuscular. Those are all the treatments I'm aware of that's available for a TRT treatment.
Yeah.
Give me that shot.
Yeah. And from
Right.
what I understand, the shot is the most efficacious of all of them. It gets right to the point. The thing with the pellet is if the dose is wrong, then you're stuck until it dissolves for that entire period.
Yeah, TRT. Your level until it goes down.
That cream will have your wife growing a beard. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if she's pregnant, you don't want to touch her if she's pregnant, especially.
Exactly.
Another Purple Bellflower. Is there somewhere men can go to get the data on baseline ranges, ages versus optimal ranges?
The internet was a good source for me, just Googling that information.
The internet will give you the ranges. I mean, there's different ranges that are for the guidelines based on the medical group. Like the urologist association has a different uh, guidelines for the range than the endocrinologist group does, and but there is no one certain number optimal range for a person. It's going to be dependent person to person. You know what your
And
what your androgen receptors are, and all of that. What your SHBG levels are. So I may need to get up to 1,500 to be optimal, where Bound may only need to get to 1,000. And Kevin, my man Kevin, welcome, Kevin. Do you have to go to a primary care physician to request initial testing for testosterone levels? Uh, Not necessarily. I guess it all depends on your insurance. Like I can refer myself to a specialist. I don't have to go to a primary to go see a specialist unless that specialist requires a referral. So I can go to a specialist. But I went to my primary to get my initial test, and then she referred me to an endocrinologist, and then I went to a urologist on my own. You can go to a clinic as well, like Bound and Broderick have done. But not you don't necessarily have to go to a primary. I don't know if
But
you guys have a different answer.
do some insurance companies require you to do that? Is that their protocol? You have to get a referral or something like that to be able to get that treatment.
There are some insurance companies that require a referral. My insurance doesn't require a referral, but there are some specialists that do require a referral, regardless of what the insurance requires. They won't take you if you're not referred from a primary. Let's see what else we got here. From Sheila Bell, what's considered a low level to know if you're a good candidate for TRT?
Anything below 300, you need to get a shot. I would say.
Well, I'll say the 300 range if I was going to put it on there. So if you're in the 300s and below, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a caveat to that. There are some doctors that won't treat you unless you're under 300 total. But that total number is really irrelevant. What's the most important component is how much free testosterone you have. And if you're below that range, and typically a lot of doctors that are specializing in this want their free testosterone over 100 picograms per deciliter. But the range is lower than that. But the free testosterone is the most important part of that. Typically, you want your free testosterone to be 2% or more of your total testosterone level, whatever your total testosterone number is. But that total number is completely irrelevant unless you're under 300. Because you can be at 400, 500 and still suffer from low testosterone. Like I suffered from low testosterone because my body didn't have enough free testosterone, because a lot of my testosterone was bound up by the protein SHBG, making it unavailable for my body to use. So I didn't have enough free testosterone. So I suffered from all the symptoms of low testosterone, despite my numbers being in the normal range according to the guidelines.
Good information.
RE wants to know, do you think TRT clinics can remain clinically objective? As a natural-born skeptic, I suspect their primary objective is profit, resulting in a shot meal approach towards diagnosis and treatment.
I thought about that. I thought about, do TRT clinics actually turn anybody away? Do they want everybody to come through that door, because they know that they're going to make money off that person? But I would say your primary care doctor that you see every 6 months or every year, he wants you to keep coming back too, because he's making money off your business. But do your own due diligence, get your own education, do your own research, and find out what those numbers are, where you're supposed to be. Once you get those test results, look at those test results yourself and understand what those test results mean. And you know, make that determination. Is this something that I want to do? Is this something that's going to benefit me? Is it going to help me? And then once you do start it, how do you feel after you start taking that medication, after you start taking that shot? Are you experiencing something different? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling worse? And if you're feeling better, okay, you'd make the right decision. If you start to feeling
Mm-hmm.
worse, you need to start asking questions and asking the doctor, hey, why am I feeling this way? You know, once again, you are the best advocate for yourself. You got to communicate for yourself and talk to the doctors. Otherwise, they're not going to really do anything. I'm just being completely honest.
And
Yeah.
I would say this: my primary care doctor, I seen the doctor bill, what insurance pay. They pay a
Mhm.
lot more for my primary than for what I pay my TRT clinic. And the fact that I get better care and my
Hmm.
TRT clinic doctor is more thorough, more detailed. She care more about how I feel rather than a number on the paper. She want to know how I feel on this medication. She asks more detailed questions, more detailed blood work, and the amount of money I pay my primary when I go, it's a lot. It's like I think it's like almost $1,000, especially when they do that blood work. It's almost $1,000 a visit for my
Hmm.
primary care doctor, and it's they only pull three numbers. That's it, and it's real quick. I don't. Some days I don't even see them. I just go in, you do blood work, then they make an appointment a week later, and that's it. It's like
Just a,
there's no care. But when I go to my TRT clinic, hey, how you doing? Come, let's sit down, let's talk, and then go over your numbers. They get the numbers. When you get your numbers back, they schedule an appointment. You come in the office. They do an in-body scan on you. They want to check your body weight, your body composition, make sure you're recomping right. And she just do a full detailed check on you. And she go over everything, make sure you understand it, explain it. Sometimes I go to my primary, I don't even see my primary care doctor. I see his assistant.
Mhm.
So it's a different care level, I would say, with a TRT clinic than a
Yeah.
primary.
I would say that
I
there's
promise you
definitely.
that
Go ahead, Roger.
I promise you that primary care doctors making more money off of it than that TRT clinic is.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I would say that there's definitely some TRT clinics out there that are operating it as a pill mill, but that's where you need to do your research and find out. I
Hmm.
know from my personal experience, I didn't do any walking. I didn't try to go to any walk-in clinics locally, but I did do some online telehealth TRT clinics. And both of them turned me away because of my history with prostate cancer. Both of them were wrong for doing that, but
Hmm.
they turned me away. So they could have taken my money and just given me the TRT, but there was a check there based off of my cancer history that they didn't want to give me TRT, even though testosterone doesn't cause um, the prostate cancer to come back. So it can happen. There are some pill mills operating out there. You just got to know which one you're dealing with. If it doesn't feel right,
I
Hmm.
then
recommend
find another one.
I recommend doing your research on that TRT clinic as well, and even the doctors. You know, check the
Hmm.
reviews. See if there's any complaints or anything that's been filed. Know who you're talking to, know who you're dealing with. Before they treat you.
Oh, RMZ, we forgot one test, the PSA test.
Yes, yes. I get that every time
Yeah.
I get my blood check. And that's to test your prostate for prostate
Prostate.
cancer. We got another super chat from my guy G's 101. Thanks for hopping in, G's. Appreciate you. And gentlemen, I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions unless I missed some. Let me scroll through to see if there were some questions without Q on it.
Do you think these TRT clinics gonna be putting a hurting on the medical industry by getting us healthier? You won't be needing that PCP as much as you did before because you're optimized and you're feeling a lot better. Things are functioning a lot different in your body. Do you think that there's going to be a battle at some point because it's going to start to hurt their bottom line?
That's a very, very big possibility. Same thing with GLP-1s, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be they more upset that GLP-1 than anything right now.
Well, I
I did
think it's
want to
kind of
ask
already
something.
started.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to ask something. So for most people on the panel, did you guys understand the difference between the primary do you guys go over the primary hydrogonadism versus secondary?
Yeah,
Because I know some people like you
I
eating.
got the primary
Yeah, me
hypogonadism.
too. And some people like, oh, you can just take a supplement and you can increase your testosterone when you got primary. You can take some maca root, or you can take some tribulus, or you can take all these herbal supplements to help increase your testosterone naturally versus taking some steroids. I'm like, no, I got primary. That won't work if you have
Mm-mm.
primary.
You,
Yeah. So
you
for
just kicking the can
those of you
down
who
the
don't know
road.
what we're talking about, there's two forms of hypogonadism. There's secondary and primary. Primary is your body is unable to produce your testicles essentially are unable to produce testosterone and or sperm. There's two hormones that your pituitary gland secrete into your body in order to send messages to your testicles in order to tell them to do these functions. There's the LH, the luteinizing hormone, tells your body your testosterone or your testes to produce testosterone, and there's the FSH, which tells your body to produce sperm. I have primary hypogonadism because my body was telling my testicles to create more sperm,
Mhm.
and my testicles couldn't do it because damage either from radiation or because I have varicose veins, or both. And when that happens, that's the primary hypogonadism. And then there's secondary, where your body is unable to send the signal to the testes. Your body can function correctly, but the signal isn't working. So in that case, it's a different treatment. So
Mhm.
they treat the pituitary gland in order to make sure that's functioning correctly, because your body can still make the testosterone and sperm levels that it needs to. It's just not getting the signal to do it because the signal's not coming out correctly. So there's the primary and secondary hypogonadism.
Wherever the misfire is, go get it fixed.
Yeah.
I know that's what my doctor told me. Like he was like, no other treatment will work to get your testosterone up high enough. Like he was like, we can try to Clomid, but that's mostly for secondary, um, low T versus the primary. And he was like, the best course of action for you would be the injection.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I would mention that we didn't talk about is, did you guys talk about fertility with your doctor? It's not a concern for me
Yep.
because I'm a grandpa now. I ain't trying to make no more kids, but the taking testosterone can impact your fertility, but there's things that you can do to get around that. You can, freeze your sperm if that's a concern for you, or you can get on, I think it's called HCG,
HCG.
which
Hmm.
keeps your signal coming out of your pituitary gland, your LH signal, to create to tell your testicles to keep creating testosterone, because once you take testosterone, it will shut down that signal because the body sees that you have enough testosterone, so it tells your testicles to stop producing it. But you can take HCG in order to keep that going. Or you can come off of testosterone. There's like a 8-month period where you can come off testosterone and
Mm.
get your sperm levels back up, in order to procreate. But there's different ways to do that. But that's a discussion that if you're going to get on testosterone, there's something that you know about. Your discussion that you're going to have with your doctor. Especially if you want to have kids, you may be at past an age where you don't really care about having kids or whatnot. But something to talk about with your doctor.
I'm
Mhm.
56 years old, been married 36 years with 3 kids and 2 grandchildren. My wife better not come up pregnant. No,
I know.
no, no. When we had that conversation in the doctor's office, and now them days is come and gone. I don't want any more children whatsoever. So let's go and get that shot.
Yeah. All
I know
I
right.
would
my
say
Well,
people who,
primary. Go ahead.
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I would say people who are looking to preserve fertility, it's going to be the same thing like GLP-1, same like testosterone. You got to go to the right doctor that knows what they're doing. They're going to try to send you to a fertility doctor. It's expensive. sometimes they don't even want to see you for those reasons. So find a primary or find a clinic that will go ahead and prescribe it that actually knows what they're doing.
And I would agree that ACG is very expensive. My doctor
Yes.
just wrote me a prescription for it, and then I seen the cost of it, and I was like, "Whoa, hold up now!" But it's an injection
Isn't that
also,
that's
and
a
I was
peptide,
like,
correct?
"Yeah, I want to say it can be viewed. I don't know if it's a peptide,
It's
but I know they sell it at a lot of sites. They sell
yeah.
peptides at though.
It's
But
it's
my
a
doctor wrote me a prescription for it.
I think it's a woman's fertility drug, but so it's used off label for men to keep the LH levels up.
It was like
I mean, those,
$600 for a 3-month supply, and I was
Wow.
like,
Does it
"Whoa."
work?
I
Yeah,
haven't
Does
it
it
taken it.
work.
work?
I
It
got the
it works.
prescription.
A lot of men online talking about it. It works.
Mm.
shoot,
It
one
is
thing I will say is
expensive.
you test
I don't know.
out.
I don't know what the costs are, but I've heard a lot of people say it is expensive.
Yeah, I
Mm.
know they told me the pharmacies that make it, because you go to a compound pharmacy, it was like $600, and you're like, "Want to get this order?" I say, well, "We're gonna hold off on it right now," because one of the biggest things you deal with is that not only people that don't want to have kids, they just don't want the shrinkage because it does shrink your being on TRT, your testicles can shrink, and so they will get on ACG to make it more fuller.
Yeah,
And
Mm.
yeah, I deal with the shrinkage first. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. And for that shrinkage is because your body isn't producing sperm because it
Hmm.
shuts down that signal. So the HCG, like we said earlier, keeps those signal going. We got one more question from Sheila Bell. I'm new with the TRT information. My husband went to a clinic that did the blood work for free. He was told he was in a low normal range. Is the reason for TRT is for his sexual hormones. I don't know if you're asking about SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. That could be a reason why he's low. But I
Did
would
they
be,
turn them away?
yeah. Did they turn him away, Sheila, or did they put him on treatment? Hey, Grant, welcome. See if she responds here.
Real quick, John Henry, I knew when you got on the TRT round. Have you seen his videos on TikTok?
Yeah,
Man,
he flexing, ain't he? He flexing.
Yeah, he got that roller looking all in the camera and everything. I said,
you
my bro
know,
feeling himself.
I'm trying to get views and follows.
I reached out to him. I said, "Man, what's your experience been with TRT?" "Oh, it's been good." I said, "I see."
It
She
really
said
has.
no. The treatment was too expensive. She said.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, yeah. Tell her to try another. Well, she can hear. Maybe try another clinic. Somebody that may be a little cheaper. Don't give
And
up. Don't give up.
And look
Yeah.
up for look on some online options as well. They may be cheaper. I know the company that I partner with, Fridays. I'm not trying to sell you anything, so you can just look it up. But Fridays has TRT that they offer as well. They send this compound and they send it straight to your door. I don't remember what the costs are, but you can check them out. There's a link in the description of this video to get to them, and put in code RMZ to get a discount. But I would check some more clinics. Check online. Like I said, you can check Fridays. You can check I think there's Peter MD, and there's a whole bunch of other ones out there that offer um, um, TRT. Might be cheaper.
And on that ECG, call around different specialty pharmacies and see what their prices are.
Okay.
So I wouldn't like somebody like Hollandale or such with an E. I can't even think about their name. Empower, but an actual specialty pharmacy where they can say this is how much it is, cash price, not through insurance.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because
yeah. That's
mine
another
off of
option.
high, it's not $200 high.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do that.
See, and this is another problem. Grant said. He said he mentioned to his PCP that he wanted his testosterone check, and she said that there was no reason to do it.
I would never understand that. The lack of care, the empathy. I don't understand that. But From a business standpoint, the doctors want you to continue to come through the door, and if they
Mhm.
get you well, you're not going to come through that door. So find another option. Just keep going until you get what you need.
Yeah. And you can even pay for your own tests. There's some places online that will send you a test to your home or send you to Quest or LabCorp through the program that they have, and you can get your test done if she won't do it for you. I think it could be like $80 to $100 depending on
That's sad.
which one.
Yeah, I don't understand why these doctors, some of them do what they do, but that's sad.
All right, y'all. There's no more questions, so I think we're gonna call it a night. I appreciate you brothers joining us tonight to talk about your experience. I think this is a very important discussion to have for men in general, especially us Black men. But we'll have to do this again at some point. I appreciate you all hopping on here tonight and sharing your journey. With that,
Absolutely.
Thank you for
chat, we thank you for joining us tonight and asking your questions. And we'll see you next week. I have a guest showing up next week to talk about his GLP-1 journey. So I hope you join us next week. Same time, same day. Everyone have a good night.
God bless.
Thank you all.